Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over a potential wildcard draft for Blank Gameweek 29. So if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment. Are you thinking of wildcarding this week? Subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So starting things off, before we take a look at the goalkeepers and the defenders, should you be wildcarding this week? Again, just like I said in the free hit video yesterday, it is completely team dependent. Because of the FA Cup shenanigans with suspensions and injuries, maybe you are just left with like 6 playing players this week, and you don't want to be taking a -8 or 12 to be able to field like 9 or 10 players. It's just not really something you want to be doing, and so maybe wildcard is just your last option. Maybe you don't have a free hit anymore. Maybe you want a free hit in Blank Game Week 34. Again, it is completely team dependent. I would say that I would much prefer wildcarding in 30 or 31 because you have a lot more information about the doubles and stuff. Whereas if you're wildcarding now, you're kind of just chancing it. You know, we don't know who's going to win out of Bournemouth and City. That's a very close game. Like, none of the fixtures in the FA Cup are very easy to call, apart from maybe Villa, Preston. But the rest of them, you've got like Forest playing Brighton. You've got, as I say, City playing Bournemouth. It's just not easy to call. So again, you are taking a bit of a risk wildcarding this week, but if you have no other way, you know, it is just what it is. It's just unlucky that, you know, you didn't know that Cunha was going to get suspended, Mateta was going to get the concussion injury. It's just things that you just didn't know were going to happen. But anyway, let's take a look at the goalkeepers and the defenders. So in net, we do have Raya and Areola. Raya does have a potential double game week coming up. I also just really like Raya as an option. He's cheaper than your Gabriels and your Salibas, and he's just a nice way into that Arsenal defense. The fixtures aren't too bad coming up. Obviously, you can play either Areola or Raya this week, depending on who you think is more likely to keep a clean sheet. For me, it would probably be Raya, but again, that's completely up to you. And then they've got Fulham at home, Everton away, then Brentford, Ipswich coming up. Some nice fixtures from a defensive standpoint. And then as well as that, you've got Areola. There's been a lot of chopping and changing with the goalkeepers in for West Ham this season. Areola looks to be back in that #1 spot. He's only 0.1 extra than Fabianski, and West Ham also have some potential doubles coming up as well. They potentially may blank in 34. But again, we just don't know this information. You're just kind of basing it on the percentages right now and what's likely and what's not likely. Whereas if you wildcard in 30 or 31, you're going to have that information. More likely to be in 31 than 30. But either way, goalkeepers there for Raya and Areola. You could go Kepa and maybe a Gabriel instead of Raya and Kirkez. It's just cheaper to go Raya and Kirkez. And to be fair, I prefer having Kirkez to Gabriel right now outfield because the fixtures are really nice from an attacking point of view for Bournemouth, who have obviously been very good this season. And Kirkez, I think his numbers are just much better. I know they play in completely different position. Well, not completely different, but, you know, Gabriel's centre-back. Kirkez is not a centre-back, but just going forward, I think I'd prefer Kirkez over the next 3. And again, they're cheaper as well. So anyway, those are the goalkeepers. Just spoken about Kirkez. We've also gone Gvardiol as well. City, very likely to be doubling. Again, depends on results, but they do have some nice fixtures coming up regardless if they double or not, with Brighton at home this week and then Leicester at home in 30. Man United away is a tricky fixture. That could honestly go either way. Then they've got Palace, Everton coming up. But again, that potential double game week, you do want some City players for that double. And I think Gvardiol, top goal scoring defender this season. I just really like him there. Livramento doesn't play this week, obviously, but with Newcastle having that confirmed double, you definitely want at least 2 Newcastle players on a wildcard draft, in my opinion, because you know that's definitely going to happen. There's 2 home fixtures. The fixtures before that as well, very nice. Brentford at home, Leicester away. Really think it's important to have at least 2 Newcastle players on a wild card this week. With the injuries as well to Hall and who else got injured? Was it Botman? Yeah, Livramento's place is pretty secured, so that's why we've got Livramento. Also got Wan-Bissaka as well, another West Ham player, again, potentially doubling soon. They do have that Liverpool away fixture, which isn't ideal, but again, you don't have to play either of them in that fixture. You can just play Raya, who's got Brentford at home, and then just obviously play one of your other defenders. But because of that potential double, again, they may blank in 34, also something to take note. But again, just a player that you're bringing in, but you kind of like just, I guess, see what you're just kind of predicting the doubles. Really, it's difficult at this point because we just don't know. This is just basing on like percentages and stuff. I've also gone Aït-Nouri as well. He's a little bit more expensive, but he does have 3 really nice fixtures coming up. Has a really nice one in Blank Game Week 29 and Southampton away, West Ham at home, and then Ipswich away. And then maybe think about probably getting rid of him for a doubler nearer at the time. The good thing about having 8 Nori at 4.8 though is you can go down to any 4.5 mil defender, which is why I also quite like having him. I've got 0.3 mil in the bank on this draft, so very, very tight with funds. But those are the defenders and the goalkeepers that I've gone with if I was wildcarding this week. Moving into midfield, we've got Kluivert, Mbeumo, Semenyo, Elanga, and Mo Salah. So a very strange midfield, obviously. Again, whether Bournemouth double or not, it'd be great if they did, because you've got 3 Bournemouth players in this draft. But even if they don't, they've got 3 really nice fixtures coming up, because even if you get all the doubles wrong, you want the players that are going to be able to have good fixtures that you don't need to use free transfers on, so you can just start stockpiling those free transfers, so when the doubles do happen, you can then easily just get rid of everyone. So I think Bournemouth are very good at that, because 3 fixtures coming up that I mean 4 really, like Fulham at home is also a really nice fixture, to be fair, and then Palace away is not too bad. So the next 5 fixtures you can play all 3 of your Bournemouth players without even worrying about it. Kluivert and Semenyo as well are not a rotation risk, whereas Dango was. So that's why I like having those. And again, Kluivert's on penalties. Semenyo is obviously had a very, very good season as well, but that's why I've gone for those 2. Mbeumo's in there just because he's a safe pick, really, on penalties. The fixtures aren't great coming up, but I think Mbeumo can score against anyone. And the players that they do have, the teams that they do have coming up against, I mean, Bournemouth is a tough one, but Newcastle, obviously, missing quite a few players now. Chelsea at home, they've been a little bit off it. Arsenal away, that's a tough one, fair play. And then obviously Brighton at home. So I don't mind Mbeumo, but you can easily swap to any other player as well, because his price is quite nice in regards to any of the players. Like if you wanted to drop down to like an Eze, because obviously Palace are going to double up in 33 as well. Or 32 or whatever it is, 29, 30, 31, yeah, 32. So yeah, you can easily drop down to Eze or something like that if you want to, but obviously you need at least 11 players this week, because there's no point of wild carding and then not having 11 players, because then again, you're shooting yourself in the foot, really. Also got Elanga as well for Forest. I think Elanga's a little bit more safe in terms of minutes than Hudson-Odoi, but I do prefer Hudson-Odoi. I think he's a lot more explosive going forward. It's just with my money anyway, I can't. Oh no, I can afford him. Sorry, I thought it was 5.7. Never mind. You could go Hudson-Odoi. So really, you have either of those that you want. I think Hudson-Odoi just starts now, like most of the fixtures going forward, because he's just been so good for us. I just prefer him to Elanga. I just think Elanga's more likely to start, but they should both start anyway. So again, that one's just really whoever you kind of fancy in that position. And then obviously when maybe the doubles come back, like Villa potentially could be doubling, maybe you go back to a Rodgers or something like that when that fixture is announced. And then also got Mo Salah. Just like me, you've probably got a lot of money saved up in him. I don't even know how much I brought him for. It was nowhere near 13.8 though. So he's a player that you're going to lose a lot of money on. And is it really worth? Because you're going to want him straight back. Like, you can't go against Salah this season. So if you're on wildcard and you're not going with Salah, like fair enough if you're free hitting, you don't have to worry about it. But if you're wildcarding, you're going to want him straight back for Everton at home. Like, yeah, the fixtures aren't. I mean, they are good, though. That's the thing. And they've only really got the league to concentrate on now as well, because they're now out of the Champions League. So there's no reason really to rest Mo Salah and stuff. So for me, if I was on a wild card, there's no way I would go into the game week without him, even though he's not playing. It's just so much more. Like, he might go down in price 0.1, but it's like you're going to have to spend an extra 0.4 or 0.5 to bring him back anyway if you brought him in a while ago. So it's just not worth it for one game week. And yeah, he's obviously having an unreal season, the best season ever. So that's why Salah's in here. So those are midfielders and the defenders and the goalkeepers. And then up top, we've got Erling Haaland, we've got Isak, and we've also got Wood. So again, Isak not playing this week, does confirm to be doubling in 32. Very much going to be captained by everyone there. Also has Brentford and Leicester coming up before that. Don't see why you wouldn't have Isak on your team. Especially in my situation as well, like I've got a lot of money saved up in him as well. I brought him for like 8.4 or 8.5. He's now 9.4. So again, it's just not worth losing him for that one game week and having to lose like 0.4 or 5 just for that. It's just not really needed. Especially in this draft as well. You've got 11 playing players, so you don't have to worry about it regardless. But yeah, players like Isak and Salah, I understand why people might be getting rid of them because they need to fund the money for Haaland, but you're going to want them straight back. If I was going to get rid of anyone for Haaland, it'd be Cole Palmer, who obviously isn't in this draft. And that's the only player that's so expensive that I'd probably think about getting rid of. But speaking about Haaland, yeah, I mean, he's obviously the best captaincy option this week. I mean, game week 30, I mean, I still would go Salah with Everton at home. I just think that you'd never really bat against Salah. We all saw what happened with people that went with Cole Palmer recently, who obviously missed the penalty, and then Salah got, yeah, it was 2 penalties, but he's averaging a penalty every 3 games, so that's why you just go with that. But yeah, with Haaland, he's, again, likely to double soon, so that's why you just want him in your team anyway. And I think Cole Palmer obviously can come back and obviously smash it, but I think playing the fixtures, playing the doubles and stuff, I think it's just worth Haaland. Obviously, there's a lot of money difference. There's like 3.8 or something, which is a lot. But yeah, if you want Salah and Haaland, that's just something you've got to do. And then I've also gone Chris Wood as well. Very good option this week. Forest unlikely to double, I think, until potentially later on in the season. But again, you're really just bringing them in for that Ipswich fixture. And then you can get rid of Wood for maybe a Mateta, and then you can get rid of Hudson-Odoi for somebody as well later down the line. But that's the strikers there. Again, on penalties, Wood, Haaland, and also Kluivert and Mbeumo. So there's no Bruno Fernandes in this draft. But again, you'd only really want him for game week 29 anyway, because after that, the fixtures aren't ideal. But that's the potential wildcard draft I would go with if I was on one this week. Again, I still prefer 30 or 31, but if you literally only have like 6 or 7 players and you just don't want a free hit until blank game week 34, maybe you have to wildcard. This is something that I'd go with. But again, it's your call, really. Like, if you think a certain team's going to win in the FA Cup and so they're going to double or blank or whatever, then you just obviously go with that. This is just something that I've come up with. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, ring the notification bell, and until next time, peace.